I want you all to imagine you just took your last final this semester. I know you don't want to think about that right now, I don't either, but you're exhausted, and the last thing you want to do is get in your car and drive around in the crazy traffic in and around Columbia. Now instead, I want you to imagine you're in your car, you just get to sit back, relax, and let your autonomous vehicle take you all the way home. Now, we're not at this point just yet, but advances in self-driving technology are being made constantly. So it's important to understand this technology and how it impacts our lives. And chances are, we have all ridden in a car or driven a car ourselves. And this technology is rapidly advancing and will trickle down to our vehicles very soon. And not only am I a computer science major, but I also have been personally interested in this technology and looked since it's been kind of created. And specifically today, I'm going to talk about how these self-driving cars work, as well as the challenges that they are facing to get them into our personal lives. So, over the last 10 or 15 years, there's been significant advances in computer science and technology that have created almost a new class of vehicle. And this started in 2009 when Google started developing their version of a self-driving car. You may have remembered it, it kind of looks like a weird oblong egg kind of thing with a big camera on top. But because of that, it kind of jump-started other companies to research their own designs. And almost every car company now has some sort of autonomous features in their cars. But this kind of new classification required some regulations. So in 2016, the Society of Automotive Engineers and the National Highway Traffic and Safety Association kind of came together and defined a 0 to 5 scale of vehicle automation. So from 0 to 3, or 0 to 2, I'm sorry. So the first 3 levels, those are all automation levels where the human is doing the majority of the driving, and 3 through 5 is where the computer actually takes over the majority of the driving. Most autonomous vehicles today that you would see on the roads are still only at level 2, meaning that the human still has to do most of the driving. So now with this reference of the classifications, I'm going to talk about how the autonomous cars actually work. So much like Google Maps is on our phones, these cars have a GPS in their systems. It's a lot more specific and accurate than the ones on our phones. So this kind of gives it a general direction of where it needs to go, but also that's obviously not enough for road conditions because there's pedestrians, there's stoplights, there's stop signs. So it has a whole lot of cameras and sensors, basically giving it a 360 view of everything that's around it and sensing these things. And all of these sensors go into a central CPU in the car that has a lot of advanced technology. And in 2018, the Journal of Information Sciences kind of did a study on this. It's called something called machine learning and also multitask learning. And these are technologies that basically allow a computer to learn and actually think in the same way that us humans do. And because of this, it's actually pushing small, very small test pockets of these cars to level 4 and 5 automation, meaning completely automated driving. So there are cars that are able to completely drive themselves places without our input. So if the technology is there, then why aren't we all driving them right now? So there's a few roadblocks, if you would say. The largest one would be our perception of these vehicles. So how we perceive the technology is going to determine if we will trust this technology with our lives. And driving is something that's probably the most dangerous thing we all partake in regularly. So in a study from the Risk Analysis Journal in 2018, the perception of risk in autonomous driving is significantly higher than conventional driving, even despite actual facts and statistics behind it. So no matter how it actually is, we see it as more dangerous. And another interesting thing is that an article in the Journal of Safety Research, also in 2018, said that most drivers, there's qualifications to allow a self-driving car on the road would be that they perceive it to be a better driver than themselves. So we need to have our machines be better than us in order to trust them, basically. So the perception obviously is a big part, but what's the actual facts behind these cars? And the only data we really have is from 2019, or not, it's from Tesla, which they really released a quarterly report of their autopilot system, and they report that there's one accident in every almost 3 million miles driven in their cars, and by comparison, The NHTSA's recent data in 2018 suggests there's one accident every 500,000 miles. So in the Tesla vehicles, there's almost a fourth of the accidents. And basically, that's promising data, but this is the only set of data we have. So lawmakers and a society as a whole isn't ready to fully trust this technology just yet. We need more data, more sets, more understanding of the technology before we trust it. And it's still in its early stages, but it's definitely showing promise. So hopefully you've gained some information about autonomous driving, but here's a quick review. Cars work with intelligent new technologies that largely detect things and think in the same way that we do. And our society, although the technology is there, our society isn't ready yet to trust this new technology. And we still have quite the distance to travel, but it's important to stay informed about these autonomous cars as they make their way into our lives. And for my last slide, I want you to think it's the last day of your winter break, and the last thing you want to do is get in your car and drive back to Mizzou. But at least if you have an autonomous car, you can take that ride while you're asleep.